American.
Awaiting your go sign, team leader. Standing by to detonate.
Welcome to Budapest, a city where chaos runs wild, and playing spy games is just another day at the office. Right now, some shady guys are going all out over what might be the most critical Amazon Prime delivery ever, only to have it swiped right under their noses by a sleek woman with a silenced pistol. Meanwhile, over in Moscow, there's a high-security prison that's about to become a war zone. For no apparent reason, a guy gets a cell door opened, and just as he's about to get caught by a guard, an English-speaking troublemaker decides to make things even messier by freeing more inmates. Somewhere in the chaos, a woman is sneaking through the sewers like she's got unfinished business. Turns out, she's working with a guy breaking prisoners loose. The scene quickly turns into a full-scale riot, with prisoners throwing fists left and right, while the guards scramble to keep control. As the whole place descends into madness, the mysterious woman in the sewers confirms she's in position, and the man orchestrating this mayhem does something unexpected. He blasts Dean Martin through the prison speakers. It works like a charm, drawing out one particular inmate, Ethan Hunt. Yep, the legend himself. The guy who helped pull off this breakout? That's Benji Dunn, a tech genius with a knack for hacking and bad timing. He's here to get Ethan back in action, but Ethan has his own plan. One that involves running straight through a crowd of violent prisoners instead of taking the safer extraction route. Benji isn't thrilled about the idea, but Ethan is already throwing punches, leaving him no choice but to open the gates and let the chaos flow. Ethan powers through the brawling inmates and reaches a particular cell. Inside, there's a guy he apparently needs to get out. But before they can make their escape, riot guards show up, decked out in full armor and ready to rumble. Ethan and his new buddy have to fight their way through, and just when things start looking grim, Ethan tells Benji to unleash all the prisoners. Because why not? In the nick of time, they make it to the basement. The guy Ethan just freed? That's Bogdan, someone with information too valuable to leave behind. But before they can celebrate, something starts shaking. Turns out, their exit plan includes a dramatic entrance. Cue Jane Carter, the badass agent who was crawling through the sewers earlier. She's got explosives and a no-nonsense attitude, making her the perfect person to get them out of this Soviet nightmare. With the mission successful, the team takes a breather in their getaway van. Ethan confirms that Bogdan has some crucial intel, which is why they busted him out. Jane, still skeptical, double-checks Ethan's identity because, let's be real, this whole situation is sketchy. Once they're sure he's the real deal, Bogdan starts putting the pieces together. Ethan is American. What gave it away? The accent? The attitude? Or maybe the tranquilizer gun that knocks him out cold before he can ask more questions? Don't worry, he's just being sent somewhere safe. Jane, meanwhile, realizes this wasn't a typical rescue mission and wants answers. She fills Ethan in on why they needed him. Turns out, the Budapest mess was supposed to be a simple courier job for an agent named Trevor Hanaway. But things went sideways fast. Hanaway had one job: intercept a target carrying an important file. Problem? No one knew who the target was. Jane and Benji had to get rough with some shady guys to extract information, but time was ticking. Eventually, their tech was Merrick managed to identify the courier and used a spy gadget to sedate him, letting Hanaway grab the file. Mission complete, right? Not quite. Before Hanaway could get away clean, he was ambushed. Jane and Benji rushed to back him up, but they were too late. A deadly blonde assassin, Sabine Moreau, got to him first. Jane arrived just in time to hear his final words before he slipped away forever. Flashback over. Ethan immediately recognizes Sabine. She's a mercenary working for a group called the Diamonds. And that stolen file? It contained Russian nuclear launch codes. Worse, the person behind all of this is someone codenamed Cobalt, a ghost with an obsession for nuclear weapons. The team heads to a sketchy street where Ethan verifies his identity through a high-tech phone booth. Benji fills Jane in on why Ethan was in prison. Rumors of a fallout with his agency or an unauthorized hit. Whatever the case, Ethan's mission is clear. Infiltrate the Kremlin, impersonate General Anatoly Fedorov, and get to Cobalt's secret file before he does. If caught, the agency will deny his existence. Oh, and the message self-destructs in 5 seconds. Now onto the mission. Welcome to the Kremlin, Russia's grand fortress crawling with security. Ethan, now posing as the general, strolls in with Benji, while Jane plays tourist outside, using a drone disguised as a balloon for surveillance. Benji, starstruck by working with Ethan, can barely contain himself. Inside, they pass security, who scan their fake IDs and let them through. So much for tight security. They make their way to a locked-off area, but Benji's hacking skills come in handy. They disable the cameras and move in. Ethan spots a lone guard down the hallway and signals Benji to distract him. Benji, meanwhile, rambles about someone named Julia, but Ethan ignores him, focused on the mission. Enter their high-tech gadget, a projector that can make a fake wall appear real. They set it up just in time as the guard finishes his distraction. Now, the plan is simple. Benji keeps the guard occupied while Ethan sneaks in. They almost get caught when Benji's big face reflects on the tablet, but Ethan saves the day. Inside the archive room, Ethan searches for the file, only to find it's already gone. Then, a disturbing sound crackles in their earpieces, a guard being strangled. Someone hijacked their frequency and is now alerting the entire security team. Ethan signals for an immediate abort. Ethan and Benji split up. Ethan, trying to blend in, stumbles upon the very guy who sabotaged them. The illusion of their fake wall fails and the guards rush in. Ethan escapes through an underground passage and emerges outside, shedding his disguise to blend in with the tourists. Then, boom, the Kremlin explodes. The blast comes from beneath, sending debris flying. Ethan sprints to safety but gets caught in the shockwave. When he wakes up, he's in a hospital, cuffed to a stretcher. On the news, the Kremlin explosion is being pinned on him as a gas explosion. Enter the Russian authorities, who accuse him of masterminding the attack. But Ethan, ever the escape artist, swipes a paperclip from a nurse's clipboard. One moment he's there, the next, poof, he's gone. Russian officials hunt for him, but he's already pulling off another trick. Hanging from a ledge too high to jump, he spots a moving van, his ticket out. He times it perfectly, drops in, and vanishes. Now on the run, Ethan swipes some fresh clothes, steals a phone, and makes a coded call for extraction before ditching the device. He then overhears a bar conversation about how bad the Kremlin explosion was. Meanwhile, in a quiet Russian home, a man named Leonid Lysenkov starts worrying about his family's safety. He tells his wife, Anna, that they need to leave town immediately. But guess what? Trouble's waiting for him. That double-crossing informant from the Kremlin has Leonid's family at gunpoint. He's got a job for Ethan, and saying no isn't an option. Meanwhile, back in Russia, where the cops are swarming the streets, Ethan makes his way to the extraction point. Waiting for him is the IMF secretary, who was in Russia just yesterday for a diplomatic meeting. Now, he's heading back to the States to resign directly to the president. Sitting next to him is William Brandt, an intelligence analyst who, at first glance, seems like he doesn't belong in the field. Ethan isn't convinced, so he asks Brandt for a pen and hastily sketches a rough drawing of the Kremlin snitch. Brandt immediately recognizes him. Kurt Hendricks, a brilliant but unhinged strategist who got kicked off Russia's military advisory team. Ethan quickly pieces things together. Hendricks is actually Cobalt, the man behind the explosion. But the blast wasn't just chaos for chaos's sake. It was a smokescreen to steal something much more dangerous, a nuclear launch device. The secretary warns Ethan that Russia won't listen to them. To make things worse, the IMF has been disavowed. As far as the world is concerned, they're the culprits behind the explosion. Officially, their orders are to be brought in and tried for the crime. Unofficially, the secretary gives Ethan the green light to go rogue and clear their names. Unfortunately, before they can move forward, a squad of armed men ambushes them. The secretary and his driver don't make it out, leaving Ethan and Brandt fighting for their lives. As gunfire rains down, Ethan makes a quick move, attaching a flare to the driver's body to draw enemy fire while they escape. It works, and they disappear into the night. Just as they make their getaway, the Russian investigator from earlier shows up. It looks like Leonid is on their radar now, too. Ethan and Brandt, left without backup, make their way to an IMF train car hidden in a rail yard. After proving their identities, they're finally let in, where Benji and Jane are stunned to see Ethan alive. Without wasting time, Ethan reviews the intel from the secretary's USB drive. It's a chilling video of a younger Kurt Hendricks ranting about nuclear war and the destruction of civilization. The man is a full-on extremist. Worse, he now possesses a launch device, and his associate, Sabine Moreau, has the launch codes. Their only lead? Both Sabine and another one of Cobalt's operatives, Winstrom, are headed to Dubai in 36 hours. Winstrom is there to buy the launch codes from Sabine. Ethan lays it out for the team. IMF has been wiped from the books. No backup, no resources, just the four of them in this train car. If anyone wants out, Now's the time. But nobody flinches. They're all in. The mission? Infiltrate the deal, steal the real codes, and swap in fake ones before Winstrom catches on. And since they need both Winstrom and Sabine alive for intel, they'll have to tread carefully. Now that they have a game plan, it's time to head to Dubai. Ethan drives as they discuss their strategy. They'll use a pair of decoy rooms to trick both Winstrom and Sabine into thinking they're in separate meetings. Benji will disguise himself as Winstrom to deal with Sabine. Once they arrive at the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, it's go time. But surprise, surprise, things don't go as planned. Benji discovers that the building's security system is too advanced for remote hacking. They'll need to break into the server manually. The catch? The only access point is on the exterior of the building. That means Ethan has to climb. Strapped with high-tech gloves, Ethan begins scaling the skyscraper. The gloves work great until they don't. One malfunctions, leaving him dangling thousands of feet above the ground. Somehow, he manages to push through and reaches the server room. But the setbacks keep coming. Sabine arrives early, forcing Jane to rush in for her disguise. Meanwhile, Ethan, realizing he doesn't have enough rope for a safe descent, has no choice but to make a death-defying leap back inside the building. Barely making it, he regroups with the team, but there's another problem. Leonid has arrived with Winstrom to authenticate the codes. With time running out, Ethan makes a bold call. They'll give Winstrom the real codes, then create fakes on the spot. Brandt protests, but they have no better options. Plus, their mask-making device has just conveniently broken. That means they have to do this without disguises. The meetings go down, but just as the deal wraps up, Sabine notices something's off. She spots the tiny camera in Brandt's contact lens. The fights break out fast. Jane takes on Sabine while Ethan chases after Winstrom. Jane, after a brutal brawl, subdues Sabine. Ethan, however, faces another twist. Winstrom was wearing a mask. The real Winstrom? He's none other than Kurt Hendricks himself. The team regroups, but the mission was far from a success. They lost Hendricks, and now they're at each other's throats. Tensions rise, and Ethan senses that Brandt is hiding something. Later, he heads to the docks to meet with an informant, allowing himself to be captured on purpose. Meanwhile, back at the hideout, Brandt finally confesses. Years ago, he was assigned to protect a couple, but he failed. The wife was never seen again, and the husband survived. That husband? Ethan. That's why Brandt had been hesitant about working in the field again. Ethan's meeting leads to another clue. Hendricks needs a satellite to execute his nuclear attack. And there's only one place he can get it: Mumbai. Their next target is a media tycoon, Bridge Nath, who owns an old Cold War satellite capable of launching nukes. In Mumbai, Jane distracts Bridge while Benji and Brandt break into the control room. Meanwhile, Hendricks, accompanied by Winstrom, is already inputting the launch codes. Jane gets the codes from Bridge just in time, and the team tracks Hendricks. Ethan races against time, but he's too late. The nuke is already launched. Refusing to give up, he chases Hendricks to a high-tech parking garage. What follows is a brutal, no-holds-barred fight, ending with Hendricks sacrificing himself to keep the launch device out of Ethan's reach. Desperate, Ethan makes a reckless dive, slamming the briefcase against the ground to disable the missile. By sheer luck, it works. The nuke is deactivated just moments before impact. With the mission complete, the Russians acknowledge Ethan's efforts, clearing IMF of wrongdoing. Later, Ethan meets with his team, officially offering them permanent positions. Brandt hesitates, still haunted by his past failure. But Ethan hints that things might not be as they seem. His wife may still be alive. With that, Brandt accepts the offer, and the team goes their separate ways. Ethan, ever the ghost, vanishes into the night. And that's how Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol played out. High stakes, crazy stunts, and a whole lot of near-death experiences. What did you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you on the next mission, if you choose to accept it.